Yeah, we are live. Okay, here we go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this webinar. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in for yet another episode of PitchGround Product Webinar, where we bring in amazing products. And this is the webinar about one another incredible product that is Popular. And we have our special guest, Romano from Popular, to share the updates and introduce the product with us. So let me uh, introduce him. Yeah, here we are. Hello, Romano. Thank you for joining us and taking time. And we are excited to see the product demo. Can you just take a time and introduce yourself before we get started? And that would be fantastic.
Sure. Thank you, Swapnil. And thanks for everyone for joining. My name is Romano, and I'm actually one of the co-founders of the product called Popupular. I'm filling in for Lexi, who unfortunately wasn't able to do the webinar today. But in any case, I'll do as good of a job as I can. So the agenda for today's webinar is going to be this. I'm going to talk a little bit in the beginning about what Popupular is, where the product came from, how we came up with the idea to kind of help you understand our philosophy behind the product and the feature sets that we develop. And then we'll jump into a screen share, and I'll do a very quick rundown through the basic features of the product, how do you use it, how do you install it on your website, and then we'll move on and I'll show you a couple of use cases, maybe 3 or 5, about how we see other users and also how do we internally use Popular in our own product to delight our users. So with
Awesome.
that, yeah.
Awesome. So before we deep dive into the product demo and the use cases and the story behind the Popular, so let's hear it from the Val. What is Popular is all about. So here we go.
Yeah, okay. So
Are adding pop-ups like never before. What's going on, guys? This is Val from PitchGround. This one is going to be real short. I just wanted to share with you guys real quick the tool that helps you add any pop-up to your website just like that. You don't need to copy and paste anything to your website. All right, you just have to install it just once, but next time you need to add a pop-up to your website, you just go to Popupular Chrome extension and just go ahead and add any element literally in a few clicks. Easy breezy, just like that. Now hurry up to get your lifetime deal for Popupular on pitchground.com. That's pretty much it, guys. Let's keep growing and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Hey, thank you so much, Val, for the quick introduction of the tool. So over to you, Romano.
all right, thanks. I actually didn't know you're going to show that video. But
Okay.
anyway, now to pick up
Mhm.
from Val, let me talk a little bit about Popular. Let me see if I can share my screen with you. See if that works. And share.
So before
All
we
right.
start, giving us the demo of the product, we would
It's not
like
the
to
demo.
hear from you.
Yeah, it's not the demo.
Okay.
I just wanted to show you
Okay.
our website so that when I
Oh,
talk the background, I
mhm.
can tell you to
Yeah.
use it
That
as
that was
prop.
my question. That we wanted to hear it from you, the background of the company and the Popular. What was the thought which triggered your mind to build a super product like Popular? So that was my question actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. So I am myself a non-technical person. I've always been kind of more on the marketing and the design side of things. And so one of the problems that I often faced was this. If you are building a product, if you're building even a website in order to test an idea, or maybe you are running your own website and you want to run a promotional campaign, or you just even want to notify users about a change that you made, you often run into a problem where you need to put something on your website. It doesn't necessarily have to be a pop-up. Could be a small visual change. Now, always that typically comes down to asking your developer or your development team to implement the change. And as any developer will tell you, no one developer really loves to mess with these tiny little marketing things. And when you have to do those things all the time, when you need to do tests, when you need to optimize for something, and you want to change these things throughout the day many, many, many times over, it sort of becomes a pain. So the developer isn't really happy by spending time on these small things instead of solving large technical problems. And you, as a marketer or just a regular website owner or a business person, feel frustrated because you always have to wait on your development team to implement those changes. So we kind of wanted to build a product that would scratch, our own itch in a way and allow us to very quickly put anything onto the website. And that's kind of the idea, how idea was born. But then, and this is where we're a little different, there's now a ton of different pop-up builders out there, and many of them have been featured on PitchGround before and probably will be in the future. Um, the main difference between Popupular and those products is that typically with a pop-up builder, you need to build everything from scratch. So let's say you want to collect emails and you want to have a lead capture form. With a typical pop-up builder, you would need to go and set all of this up inside of that pop-up builder using the tools that you provide. And they may make it easy for you and drag and drop and all sorts of things and customization and stuff like that. The problem with that is typically every single person is set on a particular stack of tools that they like. There's similarly hundreds of products that allow you to build a lead capture form. You may be using Easy Forms or Typeform or MailChimp and so on and so on and so on. And depending on the product that you are already using, if you have decided to use that particular product, then when you build your pop-up in that pop-up builder, the next question that you ask is, oh, does this integrate with my personal email, lead capture form? Can I then integrate the context that I've collected through this form into, let's say, MailChimp or into Typeform or so on and so forth? And this sort of creates another whole set of problems with these pop-up builders. So instead, what we wanted to say, look, if I'm using Typeform for this, and if I'm using Active Campaign for this, why don't I use whatever forms they already provide and allow me to embed on my site, but in a pop-up? And so this is how sort of Popupular was born. We wanted to make it really easy for you to put a pop-up on your site, and we wanted to make it easy for you to use whatever products you already know and love and have gotten used to inside of that pop-up. So you don't have to think about those integrations. And then the rest basically came from that, because we wanted to, once you've done that, once you've embedded the content from the product you're using into the pop-up, how to make it easy for you to control without coding. When does this pop-up trigger? What sort of schedule? What sort of pages? Playback effects and stuff like that. And hence the name of Popupular, because it's pop-up plus popular products that are out there. Pop-up and popular, Popupular.
Yeah, so that's the meaning of the brand name, Popup
Correct.
plus popular.
Yeah,
So make your pop-ups popular enough. Right.
That's true. And also popular products that are out there that you can already use inside of your pop-up.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for sharing the story behind the product. It's incredible. Okay, so let's deep dive into the product itself. If you can, share your screen and show us what Popular can do for us, that would be
Yes.
fantastic.
Sure. Let me share my screen with you now. All right, sharing.
And guys, if you have any question and queries regarding the Popular tool or the deal which is running on the pitchground.com, please comment us so that we can solve your question and queries right now. And I want to give you one more information that the deal is going to end within a few hours. So if you're on the fence and if you're thinking that, okay, this tool will help us out, we are going to show the demo and the tool as well. So if you're on the fence and if you're thinking that, okay, this tool is helpful for me in my business, right? And, something is, stopping you, the question or the queries regarding the tool. So this is the right time to ask and solve all the queries and the questions that you have. So over to you.
All right. I'm sharing my screen, but I don't think it's showing up to the audience. Is there a way for us to switch to that view?
Yeah, let me share. I think so you're presenting a different tab. So can you just switch that tab?
No, I'm just presenting the entire screen, so I'm not sure what I can do here. There you go. All right. Let me switch to a website. So I am now on domain.com. Why am I on this website? Because I just wanted to show you that you can literally go to any website on the internet and create your pop-ups. Typically, obviously, you would do this on a website that you own, where you can actually install a small snippet of JavaScript code that we provide. But we use this for demo purposes here. And the way it works
Okay.
is Popupular is essentially two parts. The first part is the Google Chrome extension, which is what we call an editor tool. And this is what you use in order to create, set up, and preview your pop-ups before you go ahead and publish them on your website. And so I am here on this website, and I've launched the Google Chrome extension, and you'll see the menu for it here at the bottom of the screen. And so now to create a pop-up, I'll just click plus, where we provide you with an array. We now have over 100, I actually lost count, over 100 different products that we support, which you can natively embed in literally just a couple of clicks. So we allow you to embed, obviously, things like YouTube video, Vimeo, MailChimp form, Google Doc, Google Map, Google Forms, TikTok clips, SoundCloud, player, Calendly, and so on and so on and so forth. And additionally, you can also embed a different web page from your site or maybe from a different website, which can be useful in a number of scenarios, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, or even an image, which again can be useful in a number of scenarios, and I'm going to talk about that later as well. We also allow you to embed content into a floating browser tab, where you would actually open an actual browser tab instead of just a pop-up. And this can be useful in other scenarios, and we're going to talk about that as well. And then finally, what happens if you, for some reason, can't find a product in here? Well, you can just search for it, and maybe you're using some rare product that we've never heard of. We actually allow you to use this other option and embed it as an HTML code, or maybe you have your own custom HTML and you're proficient in HTML and you may want to embed it into a pop-up, and we also allow you to do that via this other tab as well. But let's look at a typical process of creating something. So let's look at, for example, a web page view. So if you click that, it's just going to ask you for a link to that particular page. Let's do something very simple, like, I don't know, maybe a Wikipedia page, .org, and click embed. And that's literally it. Now we have a pop-up, and the page has been rendered inside of this little pop-up. From here, we can customize where we want to place this pop-up on the page using these large buttons that are hard to miss. So we could say, oh, maybe I want this in the top right corner. From here, we can also resize the pop-up, and you can use it by entering the width and height value. Maybe, I don't know, let's make this a little taller at 560 pixels, and maybe just a little bit slimmer at 480. Like that. And you can also go full screen and just make this pop-up occupy the entire screen. However, please use this with caution. We do provide an ability for a user to always close full screen pop-ups, because those can be very loud, very up in your face. So you may want to use this with caution. And then if you change your mind, you can click edit and basically edit the address in here. But where all the real magic happens is here in settings, which is this button in the top right corner. So this is where you define everything about the way your pop-up is going to behave. On the rules tab, you can set the trigger. And this is basically user action that will show this pop-up for that particular user. And we provide a number of triggers for you. So you can use a click, and you can place this click or a hover on a particular page element on the page. So let's attach a click trigger. It'll now ask you to select a particular page element, or you can override and actually enter this here, which is more useful for some developers, for example. Or you can use our visual selector tool. Click on, select on page, and now, I don't know, let's say if somebody clicks on here. So if you have a link that may be empty or has been left empty for you by your development team, or if you've been using a website builder like Webflow or WordPress or something else, you can actually do this yourself. So instead of coding all of this up, you can just create an empty link and then use Popupular to then bind a click action to that link or a button or literally just anything else on the page. So when the user clicks on that particular page element, this will open the pop-up for them. So I'm going to now attach this to this heading over here. Click, and then now it's been saved. If at any point of time you want to see where you've placed this, you can click, show on page, and it's going to highlight it for you. Similarly, we can change this to hover, and it's going to work the same way as click, except that if you hover over it instead of click, it's going to open that pop-up. We also provide a timer trigger. So for example, this could be if you want to trigger a pop-up if a user spent a certain amount of time on page. So for example, if somebody has entered your page and they're browsing around and you see that maybe they've been here for a couple seconds, you want to trigger something into you. You probably have seen this on many websites. What we recommend doing is setting this to a larger value so that you really you really allow for a little bit more time for the user to kind of explore your page before you trigger something into view, so it's a little bit more relevant. Another scenario of that, if user has been idle for a certain number of seconds or minutes, which can be useful, for example, in these scenarios. If a user is going through your website, but then, a phone rings or somebody knocks on the door and they have to leave your page, and their sort of whole thought process has now moved away, and you can see that they've been idle. They may come back and see the page and just close it down. And so this provides you with an ability to kind of monitor for user being idle. And so when they return and they start moving their cursor again, you can basically watch that and then trigger something into view and say, hey, we see that you've been away. We want to give you a refresher or something like that. We also have a scroll trigger, which allows you to set a particular position on the page. So how far down the page your user may want to scroll. Maybe you want to show something when the user reaches a particular section of your site, or you want to highlight something that's important, that's easy to miss. So you can use that in here as well. Page visit is basically whenever somebody enters the page, and this is actually the default trigger for most pop-ups. So basically open a pop-up as soon as somebody enters the page. Exit intent, if somebody is about to leave the page, you can trigger a pop-up. And then we have an event that we're working on. It's not live just yet, but this basically will give you a small line of JavaScript code, which you can place in your app and then create your own custom triggers based on something that may be happening in your application. And then finally, you can just turn this off. And then again, this can be useful if you may want to use this to trigger this pop-up from another pop-up. Anyway, let's settle on just page visit for now. From here, you can also control playback. By default, it's in preview only, which means that only you, the editor who are using the Chrome extension, can see this pop-up. But then you can publish it and go to live on site. And when you have a small piece of JavaScript snippet that we provide installed on your site, whenever you flip the switch, it's going to start showing to your site visitors. So typically you would use preview in order to preview these pop-ups and see how they look and work. And then you will publish them when you're happy with the way everything operates. Or you can set it to both, and you'll be able to see it in preview and live on your site. You can also from here set specific pages where you may want this pop-up to trigger. By default, it's all pages, but you can say, oh, I want to show this on a particular page. And the way it works is we provide you an ability to enter an exact URL of your page, or you can use subdomains, for example. And in order to cover all of the subdomains on your website, we actually don't look at the top-level domain, but rather the page structure after the TLD. So for example, right now we are on the homepage for domain.com, and the address that we picked up is the slash, which basically denotes the homepage because there's nothing after the slash here. However, if we were to go to say domain.com/prices, we could just enter here, instead of the entire address, just prices, and edit like so. Similarly, this can be useful if you want to show pop-ups on sites that may have varying domain names or maybe multi-tenant web apps. So if you happen to generate a unique subdomain, or even allow for your product to be embedded onto your customers' various domains, but you want to show these pop-up across all of those, this will also work via this thing using the same JavaScript snippet. And so the way to take care of that is by actually entering the addresses like this. Anyway, we can talk about that later. And similarly, you can exclude pages, so it would work the other way around. So you could say, oh, show it on all pages except for the pages that are entered here. And then
Okay, so
finally,
no
we
need
get.
to, sorry to interrupt
Mhm.
you. So each and every page and add the pop-ups. It can be done from this window, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And something else you could also use is regex, which is regular expressions. So, for example, if you have a bunch of web pages that only have a variable that changes, but otherwise the content is the same. So, for example, if we go to, I don't know, let's say Facebook, everyone has their unique Facebook name. So mine would be that, and then inside of my page, I don't know, maybe there would be something like friends. So the only thing that would change in this particular address pattern would be my username. And so in order to take care of that, what I would need to do is basically replace that with an asterisk or a star, and that would take care of all these pages, for example. And you can kind of play around with this. So for example, you say, oh, I maybe have a page where um, I only have, let's see, this part change, and I want to cover that. So we would enter it like that. So anyway, those are regular expressions. You can read about that more in our help center, or just even Google what those are. But they allow you to cover various different scenarios where you target various different pages on your site.
Okay, that's a bit technical side, right?
Yeah. But
Yeah,
anyway, these questions do come up on certain pages. Most people
right.
usually, say, "Oh, I just want it on a couple of pages, or maybe all pages, or I want to exclude them." But you can do this here. Those scenarios are covered. And then moving on to occurrence, which is, how often do you want this pop-up to fire when all of these other conditions are met? And typically, people go, "Oh, I just want to show it once," which means that we trigger the pop-up into view whenever somebody visits on all pages, and then if they close that pop-up, they will never see it again. Each time is exactly as it sounds. So every single time these conditions are met, we're going to trigger that. Or we can say it tilt closed, which means that we're going to keep showing it until the user actually closes it. We've received additional feedback from our early users, including from PitchGround, about expanding this section, and we have plans to expand this massively, to introduce different other kind of scenarios in terms of occurrence. But for right now, kind of short, sweet, and simple like that. Moving on, if we go into the audience, this is where you can actually set up different segmentation rules. So if we click on, you can here create an audience. And the way you create an audience is by basically stringing together different types of criteria or properties for a particular user. And you can use all or any logic here as well. So these would be things like, browser language, which could be or not be a particular, browser language setting, which allows you to target multi different audiences. So, for example, if you have people coming from different countries, you can actually target them based on their setting, or you can use actual location. You can use device type. So, for example, darn it, always keep missing. Anyway, you can always select, I only want to show this to desktop users or mobile users, and so on and so forth. And then certain cookies which they may have in their site, or certain refer, and so on and so forth. And we'll also keep expanding this based on user feedback. And so you build this out and you save this as an audience. And when you do that, when you actually save it, then it becomes reusable across various different pop-ups on this particular website. So if you create this audience here and then you go create a different pop-up, you can then go into audience and just apply it from the ones that you've already saved. And then from here also, you have this checkbox, which is apply in preview mode. And this is kind of important. I have to talk about this because we always get a lot of questions from users about, oh, my pop-up isn't playing. And the reason for that is because they maybe have set up an audience, but they themselves don't match the criteria or user properties for that particular audience. And so they go and they preview it and it doesn't play for them. And the reason for it is because they didn't really meet those same criteria. And so the way to go around it is by actually unselecting this checkbox so that it always plays in preview for you, regardless of the criteria that you set. So I kind of wanted to stress that point. Um, We can also schedule pop-ups in the same way. So we can turn the schedule on, and it's fairly simple. You can set the start date. So for example, today is May 6th, and you can set the time and then the particular time zone, for example, and then you can have it run indefinitely, or again, select and then date. And then within this time frame, you can also set to play on specific days, which is a feature that we've also developed based on user feedback. So for example, we have some customers that only run campaigns on, let's say, Fridays because they have a sale or a special offer each Friday. This can be also applied for customers that are working in the sports industry, like gambling or something that has to do with games that occur. For example, in America, it's Monday Night Football when the season is on. So again, within that time frame that you set here, you can also set a particular day of the week where you want this pop-up to
Yeah,
appear.
this
And
feature
again,
was not there earlier, right?
um,
The time,
I
the days,
I
days.
I can't remember. I can't remember. We've added quite a bit. I mean, we've had,
Yeah.
I think,
Hmm.
since we've had, I don't know, close to 13 or 14 new releases since the time we had
Okay.
the
Yeah.
first webinar. So there's quite a few things that have changed. Some of them are under the hood, others are kind of around. We definitely introduced full screen mode. We've added additional playback settings in effects. Anyway, there's been quite a few things. But again, I have to stress, please don't forget to uncheck this box to make sure that you are able to preview this, even though right now the date that we're seeing right now may fall outside of this range. So it's not you called customer support for nothing, because it's usually just that over here. And then depending also on the type of embed or integration or the product, if you go here into Playback Effects, you may find additional settings. So for example, for all of the universal thing, so for here, for like web page, there isn't a whole lot. So we allow you to dim background a little bit when you play this pop-up, or even hide the close button. But again, be very careful about that, because we know that certain embeds actually provide their own native way to close the pop-up. So if that's the case, it could be redundant. And so we allow you to do that. But for example, if this was YouTube or Vimeo, you'd find additional section here which will allow you to autoplay video or hide video controls or start playback from a particular time code and stuff like that. And depending on the type of embed, this populates this area over here as well. And so the way you typically go through this is you select, again, the type of embed that you want to embed, and you go and you embed it in there, and then you place it on the page wherever you want, and you go here into settings, and you say, oh, I want to place it on, I want to trigger it on a page visit, on all pages, and I want this each time, and let's say I want to publish it and go through audience, schedule, playback effects. Very, very simple. Save that, close, and now we can save this, and we could call it, I don't know, wiki, and save. And now let me make sure that I have everything else turned off, just in case, so it's not, so it's not showing up at the same time and cluttering the page for us, because I have quite a few of these saved. Let's see, there's wiki, and I think that's it. There's nothing else. Yep. So now, how do we preview how this looks? So we have this button here for preview mode, and when you click on that, you should see exactly how everything looks and works for your end user. So the preview mode is basically the way it's going to look and the way it's going to work for your end user when you actually publish it on your page and they visit your page. This is the way it's going to work and look for them. So here's our pop-up, and it's in the top right corner, and it's a Wikipedia page rendered beautifully inside of this little pop-up. We got the little dim background, and here's the close button, so we can dismiss that and exit the preview mode. And then, as you've just seen, you can manage and preview and view all of your pop-ups here in this pop-ups tab, and you can search through them, and you can rename them from here. You can go into editing mode and copy, so create a duplicate, for example, and delete them. To use, I want to stress this, when you copy this, it can be useful, because if you don't want to copy, if you want to create a new pop-up, for example, but on your old existing pop-up, you already have the audience set up and all the triggers and stuff like that, you can actually go here and just duplicate that and maybe change the page. So that can be a useful shortcut for you. From here, you can also control via these quick toggles the preview mode and publication status on your page. And also from here, we'll give you a very quick glance at how many views these pop-ups have gotten. And then you can also create a new pop-up from here as well. So that's kind of very quickly a rundown of how you create a pop-up with Popupular. So like I said, just select an embed and go through the motions and preview it, and then you're ready to go. You can publish it. Just a couple of notes on the extension. So if you click on settings here, we've introduced an ability to style the close button in the preloader for when it loads. This has been one of the features that have been requested. It's been a fairly simple one, and I think this is something that wasn't there when we first did the webinar, so this has been added in here, and this is a site-wide default. From here, you can also access the JS tag, which is a little piece of JavaScript code which you need to install anywhere in the header of your website to make sure that we can display these posts that you create to your users. But that is the only thing that you need to do, just like in the video. We do this once, so you can go, copy, paste, save, and that's it. Everything is the Chrome extension. Copy it from here, and we also provide you guys on how to do this tag manager, which we support using, and we do support other website builders as well. So like Webflow and Wix, all of those also work with Popupular. And from here you can, but not sure why would you want to need to do this, but just in case, you can do this from here, because typically to turn this on and off, you would just toggle this button here to show it and close it. But if you need to log out, you can also do this here. From here, you can also access the Help Center, and for that, we also use our own product. So you see, we use a floating browser tab, which is something that we provide for you to build. And again, our own kind of knowledge base is embedded via this floating browser tab. And similarly, with our changelog, what's new, this is all in here. So here's a change that we've added, and this is all in here, and it's gonna show up when we create an update to let you know what's new with the product. Now, with that out of the way, let me show you a couple of examples of how do we see our customers and how do we actually use the product to delight our users and create various types of scenarios. Because what happens is when you combine different triggers with segmentation settings and a couple of different playback effects, you can create various types of scenarios. So let me show you a couple, and I think, how are we doing on time? And
I have
maybe
a quick question regarding that copy option. So once we
Mhm.
copied any of the pop-up, so it will not it will not copy the audiences as well, right? So we need to build the
Yeah, it'll
audience
copy.
for
No,
that
no, no.
kind
It
of
will.
trigger.
No, it will copy everything. So, for example, you
It will
have.
copy everything. Okay.
Yeah, it will copy everything. So we got this Wikipedia page, and maybe you want to use, I
Mhm.
don't know, just like us. Maybe you got your own knowledge base, and you want to embed, instead of a Wikipedia page, you want to embed a page to a help article. Just go copy here. It's going to create a copy. Everything is going to be copied over, and then you're going to open it up, edit page, and then just replace the URL, and everything else will be saved. So it's a nice time saver.
Fantastic, fantastic, awesome.
All right, so let's look at a couple of small scenarios. So here's a typical one. This is really simple. This is very obvious, and this is something that you have immediately thought of, for example. But here's a YouTube marketing video, which we can edit. Here's one that I've created with Val talking about Popupular, and we can just set this up to play, let's say, on click. And we use this on our own website, actually. So when you go here and you click watch a demo, we use our own product. So our own kind of demo is embedded via this empty link using our own product. So it's a simple, kind of straightforward way to create these interactions. And again, this is very, very simple here. So with that, let me show you something a little bit more sophisticated. So let's look at here. Okay, so it's an image. I've created this button, which is literally just an image. It's a JPEG or PNG file, and I've embedded it in here. And for images, we actually have an additional setting. So we have a setting that defines what happens when somebody clicks on this image. and we can just close it. So if you're running, I don't know, a promotion or something, or a notification saying, oh, hey, it's a holiday, we're not working today, no big deal. So you let people know, and when they click on it, you can just close it. Or you can open a link either in a new tab or an existing kind of tab redirect, or execute a JavaScript event, which is again something earlier where we can actually call your website and say, hey, this user has done this. In return, you can actually trigger something else in your website, which are interesting kind of user interaction areas where you can do something in your backend, for example. And then another feature that we've actually gotten a feedback on we're introducing to trigger another pop-up. So for example, you have, so let's make sure, I think it's a scroll, right? I think it's like 3,000 tops. I'll show you how that works. Let's click save, and then on the top, go into preview mode, and I'm going to start scrolling and see where we hit those three. There we go. And there's our button, like it, subscribe. So this can be used for example, a blog post that you have on your blog. And whenever somebody is reading your blog and they're kind of scrolling through and they're reading through, maybe when they reach 3/4 of the length of the post, you can trigger this into, hey, now is actually a good time. If you like our content, you can subscribe to our newsletter. And we found that actually combine it with the scroll action, meaning if you don't trigger it right away before people actually engage with your content, but when you give them a little bit more time to actually read the content and make sure that they understand or they like it, and when you trigger it just a little later, they're much more likely to actually subscribe. And so now we've triggered this on scroll, and if they click on it, we can open then either another pop-up or a page where you actually collect newsletter subscriptions. So that's kind of one scenario that you can use this for. And I'm going to show you another one. So instead of that, though, let me first turn this one off so they're not firing at the same time. Let's look at, okay, there's an image with the changelog. So here, again, another image, and this one is not static. So this is a GIF. In here, I have a link to our changelog, for example. And what this does is we use this in order to notify our users about something. So again, let's turn this on and show you how that works, right? So there we go. We can trigger this into view. And again, there's all of these triggers. There can be a delay, scroll trigger. And so whenever somebody clicks on that, we can tell them, oh, hey, we've actually done something new. If you want to read about our changelog, there's that. And again, this is a very small, subtle interaction, but because of the way it's implemented, it allows you to draw users' attention to something that you've done and build trust, build engagement, and make sure that they actually do understand, oh, you've done something. And just kind of helps you highlight these things. And let's see. There's more, and I can keep going, but I'm just want to be cognizant of the time. So why don't I open it up to questions and maybe take a few of those, and maybe we can build together while I'm screen sharing as well.
Sure. So, guys, if you have any questions regarding the demonstration that we have just seen, so it's a pretty solid tool that you can embed anything, image or any of the link or Wikipedia page, or else if you want to embed Vimeo or YouTube videos, you can do that as well. Okay, and the interaction that I really liked it that they have implemented on their website as well, right? So if you go on their website and if you click on the watch video section, so the pop-up which is coming and you can see the video, the product video, okay, without routing those users to YouTube or that a big space which is consuming by that player. It's not happening like that way, right? It's a very subtle interaction which is happening with the website, and it's a delighting to your visitors, instead of doing messy things or messy pop-ups here and there and something is popping up, user has to close. So you can set it up everything every interaction, the scrolls, even though you can show the pop-ups based on the different triggers, different devices, different country. For example, anyone is visiting from Asia, so you can show a different pop-up. If anyone is coming from a different device, for example, a laptop or desktop or mobile phone, then you can show a different pop-up to different set of audiences, right? So this is a really, really advanced tool that I've seen. I've seen so many pop-ups, but those are just like embed. That's it. you know there is no advanced settings. For example, you cannot segment each and every step of the pop-up, when to show, when to off, and to which audience that has to be visible, and so many things. It's a whole lot of things packed into a simple and very easy to use software, guys. Do not miss out this deal, which is currently live and gonna end within a few hours, I can say within 20 30 hours, sorry. So 24 and 10, 30, 30, 30, 37 hours. So guys, go ahead onto pitchground.com, check it out, the deal. Before Roman, before we take some questions, let me show you my screen and show the deal which is currently live on pitchground.com. Or else you can also share the screen. Roman, you're sharing the screen. Just open the
Sure.
pitchground.com and
Let's
show
do
the
that.
deal page. Yeah.
Right, it's right there on the front page. Right, there we go.
Yeah, it's a popular. The tool name is Popular. It helps you to embed anything into your website, right? So you can embed YouTube video in a pop-up. You can embed Calendly calendar in a pop-up, Google Doc, Airtable sheet, MailChimp form, podcast player, image or GIF, website, or for example, if you have different websites, 2 domains or 3 domains, and if you want to showcase a content of a different website, but without you're losing that visitor. For example, you're not routing that user from one website to another website, that you can do it within a single website, just with the help of this amazing piece of software, right? You can embed website, you can embed pages, custom HTML, so many things you can do with this amazing software. Yeah, so we can go to the pricing section, Romano.
Mhm.
Yeah, so this is the pricing. Just go down.
There we go.
Okay, so this is the pricing, guys. $49 for lifetime. You do not have to pay monthly fees or yearly fees to owe this software or to use this software. You just have to pay one-time fee, that is $49, and you will get a plan A in which you can embed pop-ups on your 5 websites. For example, you have 5 domains, or you are running some blogs. So you can embed this pop-ups. You can showcase different content on different set of users on different domains, right? And in which you'll be getting 20,000 pop-ups views per month, and you can embed unlimited pop-ups and all the features and updates of Popular basic plan. You'll be getting into a plan A. Then we have another plan, that is plan B, that is plus light plan, in which you will be getting 20 sites. Means you can embed 20 domains. You can have 20 domains on which you can embed or use this tool, and unlimited pop-ups. Obviously, you will be getting in this plan as well. But the one more feature that would be unlocked in $97 plan, that is user segmentation, right? The audience segmentation. Then the another option that would be unlocked into this plan, that is scheduled playback. You can schedule playback. For example, if I want to showcase something to my visitor who is visiting my website on Friday, so I can show a different set of pop-ups to those visitors. So that is a scheduled playback. You can set it up in the tool itself, and the interaction will be happening, and you are setting that interaction right now, and that will keep on going. That pop-up will keep on showing to different set of people who are visiting your website on different time zones, different dates, everything, right? Then multi-user access with unlimited users and all the features and the updates of Popular Plus plan. Then we have a one more plan if you wanna go for an unlimited site. For example, you are a agency, or you have so many domains, so many content that you're publishing across multiple domains, and you want to go for a higher plan. Then we have a plan C, that is plus extended, plus enhanced plan, in which you will be getting unlimited sites and 500k pop-up views per month, and unlimited pop-ups, user segmentation, schedule playback, and performance analytics as well. And obviously, in which uh, you will be getting a I think we missed out on that performance section, right? So I think you're going to show us right now performance analytics, Romano.
Well, yeah, that's the so this is
Yeah.
the ability for you to see the views that you're getting. We can't provide you with the way how how people click inside it, because we can't really control the content inside of it. But we do
Okay.
track this, and we also have a user request to break down information about where users are coming from and what sort of device they're using and that sort of thing, that we're sort of waiting to release to a larger audience. So that's basically that. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for explaining that. Then, if you want to go for a higher plan, that we have that plans as well. That plan is Plan D and Plan E. In Plan D, you will be getting 750k pop-ups views per month, and that the dollar value is $297 for lifetime. You just have to pay one-time fee, and the whole suite of Popular is yours, right? Then the Plan E is again unlimited sites. You will be getting in $97 plan, that is plan B, plan C, $145 for lifetime. Then plan D is $297 for lifetime. Then plan E, that is $397 for lifetime. In all these plans, you'll be getting unlimited sites, but the pop-up views are different depending upon the plan which you're going for, right? So this is all about the pricing and the plans of this whole suite of the Popular that we have just seen. The amazing piece of software, you can embed anything, even though the different actions you can set it up. For example, if you want to showcase a pop-up on a trigger, different triggers, on click, on hover, on scroll, on timer, or on page visits, page exits, on events, page rule, on schedule. So different set of options, triggers, which is given in a single tool. You do not have to embed different tools to showcase different actions, or to showcase different to push up some different triggers, right? So everything is included in a single suite of tool that is Popular. Over to you, Human.
Yeah, sure. One more thing I wanted to note is, if you are an agency or if you develop websites for your clients, we also introduce ability on these higher plans to have multi-user access, which is it's actually done in your dashboard, not via the Google Chrome extension. But the way it works is when you have lots of these websites, you can actually give out access on a per site basis to your teammates or to your clients, where you can assign different level of access to allow them either to view the pop-ups that you create, or maybe allow them to also manage these pop-ups, create new ones, edit existing ones. And so you can actually can have control over that. And maybe if you want to charge extra for that, you can also do this. It's very easy for you to set up. It's very easy for you to invite users into your Popupular account and allow them to work on these websites together collaboratively, which is something that we've seen a lot of agency users pretty happy about. So again, just kind of wanted to mention that. But beyond
Yeah,
that, yes,
yeah,
swapping.
that's the sorry to interrupt you. That's
Yeah,
the
sure.
important point that I missed out. That if you're an agency and you want to, set it up multi-user access with different users, right? So that is you're going to get it in Plan C, Plan D, and Plan E, right? So that is also unlocked in Plan C, Plan D, Plan E. So it's yours, right? And guys, the tool is this deal is going to end within few hours from now, so do not miss out this amazing piece of software. And you would be really liking that software because it has the power of you can embed anything. We have just seen that Romano has just demonstrated that we can embed anything, and it's a very subtle interaction that is happening in your website. I've seen so many pop-ups. You just the pop-ups are coming from here and there, and you just have to close. The interaction, the UX is totally mess in that kind of interactions, right? But in this tool, if you use this tool, the interaction, the UX of your website will be very smooth, right? Yeah, over to you, Romano.
Yeah. Swapnil did a great job kind of pumping up the product. But a couple of points I wanted to make. So I want to say that from us, the founders, obviously, a lifetime deal is a rare opportunity kind of for you because again, you get to subscribe to future growth and updates from the product. And if you go to over to our changelog, you'll see we've actually added quite a bit of things, and we are always open to user feedback, particularly when it comes to adding additional integrations, because we understand that you may be using other product that we haven't really thought of. It's fairly easy for us to implement, and we try to take care and implement it in a way that makes it really easy for you to embed and manipulate. So we're open to hearing from you what sort of tool and maybe what sort of interaction you would like to see, and we'll be adding those. If you look over the change log, we've added some nice UI things, we fixed bugs. We had additional embeds for example, quick note, which has been gaining popularity, for example, right? And as you can see, things are developing. The product is developer. We're updating it regularly. Almost every week something comes out. And anyway, you can go back and look at all of these things. So it's a pretty good deal. Obviously, coming from a founder, we love our product and we're invested into it. But we'd love for you to join our family of users and love to get your feedback and grow the product together for all of us to be useful.
Awesome, guys. See, the founder is very open to receive the feedbacks and the suggestions to improve the product, right? So if you have anything like, for example, if you feel that this feature is not there in the popular and you want to have that feature, so you can easily, contact to the founder, and they have a different page where you can list down that feature, and that can be, if it is doable, if it is feasible enough to make that feature live inside the product, so they are open for that, right? So they are open to build the product with all of us, right? It's kind of community driven platform, I can say right now. Yeah. So I love the product. It's an amazing piece of software that they have created. And if you have any questions before the deal ends, please shoot out those questions, tag me, tag Romano inside the community, and we are happy to answer all your questions and the queries regarding the deal, regarding the tool, if you have anything. And if you want, you can directly contact him. You can have a live demo. I can share some videos with you if you want to see again the different features that we have shown. This video is obviously live inside the Facebook and across all the social media channels that we have. And but if you want, you can go to their YouTube channel, and there are a whole suite of demo videos are there. You can watch that demos as well, right? So if you have anything to share, Romano, so you can share before we wrap up this amazing webinar.
Oh, no, I think we're done. I think we covered all the bases. So we'd be happy to answer any other questions, either tonight or over email. Please do feel free to reach out to us. Otherwise, over to you.
Amazing. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for Romano for taking your precious time out and sharing some valuable information and showing us an amazing piece of software that is popular, and the depth of software is really, really amazing. And thank you so much for everyone for tuning in. We'll be seeing you in the next webinar. Till the time, take care, be happy, and keep improving 1% every day. Have a good day all. Thank you so much.
Bye.